Now we're going to do a value gradation here. So I still have my palette all set up. My inks are still wet. I have nice clean water to start with. I'm going to then, I have my empty brush. I'm going to load it with my black. And then I'll start here, nice solid black. And my goal is to finish off white by that end. So I'm going to start here, like I said, with the black, and then I'm going to dip in my next value here. Just like with graphite, you're aiming to not have a transition line, that it totally blends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my paper here. You can see my finger is going underneath it. My aim is to get a puddle of water to go to the edge here. So I'm going to dip in the next value, and I'm going to add a little bit more because we want a nice big puddle. And it's not an exact science because I had so much ink in my brush. I think I'm actually going to clean this out. Dry it off on my paper towel. Put that in the screen here. And I'm actually going to jump all the way to this lighter one because I think I have very dark value of a puddle. But you can see how that puddle is moving to the farthest right side here. And I'm just going to keep on adding more. Some people just keep on adding clean water. So that is a strategy you can take too. And I'm noticing, I'm predicting right there, it's going to jump a little bit too quickly. So I'm actually going to just tap a little bit of that darker on first. But you can see, since my finger is lifting up on the left side, the puddle is just working to the right. And you want to try to avoid going back and reworking that, but sometimes we just have to. I'm going to go into this lighter value, see if we can lighten that puddle up, because what we're pretty much doing is adding more clear water to each step of the way. Yep, I'm already seeing a bit too much of a transition there, but we're just going to work with it. You might find that you need to flip your paper over and try another one. Again, your goal is to get familiar with the ink. I also can wait for this to dry, and I might do another coat over top to get the right transition. So I'm already aiming for that lighter value. Swish this out, go for that lighter value again. So if I am aiming to have my midtone right about here in the middle of my value gradation scale. I can even kind of take that water out of there, switch to the lighter value, blend that puddle so we don't get an edge. I'm barely touching the paper surface. I'm not exactly scrubbing and painting with this. I'm noticing that there's a little bit of a transition, so I'm just petting the surface. Hopefully I can get rid of that transition, and then I'm slowly just working that puddle down. I am noticing as it's drying, I am going to have to rework up there. I kind of rushed it. The puddle seems so dark. I'm like, there's no way that it's going to be light enough to show, but sure enough it was. So I'm going into this last light value here, mixing it in that puddle. And this is probably the hardest part. How do we get from this light gray to the white paper in time? And this is where that thirsty brush really comes in handy. So I don't want to do it too soon. My puddle is running out, which is what I want. I kind of want to stretch that puddle until it doesn't exist. There's no more puddle, so I can let go of that left side. I'm going to dry this brush. I squeegee brushed it, and I want to avoid this harsh edge. So what I'm doing is feathering it out. So I'm just taking that last bit. It's a little bit of a dry brush, and I probably have too much ink still on my brush. I wish I had my secondary clean water there, but I'm just going to take that, see what I can do. Oh yeah, I totally need some clean water. Running. So I literally ran, got clean water because you don't want this to dry, and then I am trying to just gently scrub, because it might have already dried, to kind of get that to white. Whew. Not my best gradation, but that's a start. Wish that it went all the way to white. It's almost like I failed a little bit, but that's okay. We learned from it, and then my white would be there. I'm going to jump back up here, though, to see if I can fix it. It's pretty dry. It's not too wet. So I'm going to skip that one and see if I can just layer this on top of it. And maybe I'll just go straight up from the top. Again, raise this up, because I'm putting this value on top of the pre-existing one. So it'll darken, you know, both of them a little bit. I still want to get this medium gray in here. I could get this is still kind of light, so I could get that darker. I'm going to switch to this one. And when it's wet, it looks a lot darker than when it dries. It's hard to think ahead for that. Get less on my brush and see if I can start to fade this out a little bit. Take a teeny bit of that. And I don't want to have any harsh lines there, so I'm going to take that value off. That might be a little too wet. There we go, kind of erase that edge. I think I'm going to go straight in with my clear. That's a lot better, and try to see if I can just get that edge to disappear on the end. So that's working better. I need to wait for that to dry. Got a little bit of an edge here, a little bit of an edge there, and I needed that clean water right at the end, so I didn't quite make it on that spot. So once this dries, I'm going to take a look and evaluate it again. Okay, so what I'm deciding is I'm going to rework this area right here, see if I can get rid of that transition a little bit more. So I'm going to go in with this, maybe a little touch of that, kind of mix them together, and then lay that value down. It's still a little bit damp, so it's spreading as I put it down, but I'm okay with that. And then, you know, I still think I could get a little bit more of a dark mid-tone right here. So I'm going to continue to pull that into the middle. Lighten that up. So I'm layering another layer on top. Clean that out. Transition. Wait for it to dry and evaluate again. I believe I'm rather satisfied with this. You know, if I was going to make it even better next time, I would aim to get the lighter values, a smoother gradation. Right now, though, I'm happy with how that gradates, and I was vigorously shaking it, so I got a little splotch there and a drip right here. So careful of that, I suppose. All right, good luck with your value scales and your value gradations. Enjoy.